Welcome to another Space Station 13 video. I'm BasedBellagio. Today I am recording this live. It's going to be a little gritty, but the whole idea is a 2023 quirk guide for TG Station. We're going to go over every quirk in the game. I call them traits, so if I say that by accident, I'm talking about the quirks. On the right is an idea of what you're going to look like if you are playing the game in terms of making your character positive. What I mean by this is, Drunken Resilience is a great quirk to have, but in order to get this, you need to have some negatives. And this is usually what it looks like when you want to get one of the green quirks. So I take these three in order to get Drunken Resilience. And you really have to pick and choose. This is if you're playing the game as a gamer. A lot of these quirks you use for role-playing purposes, like Paraplegic is a great example of one you would use to start your round fully paralyzed. There's also ones where you have no limbs, a quadruple amputee right here. So these you would really pick not to make your character super powerful, but more for role play. Let's take a look at some of the list. We'll go down it pretty quickly. Let's go over the negatives first. And if I would pick it, again, we are not talking about roleplay. We're talking about making your character better, more robust, almost playing this game competitively, like a Call of Duty. Which traits or quirks do you want and don't want? So blind, as you can see, it gives you the most point balance. If you just pick blind, you can literally pick 2 green traits. The green traits max out at 8 points each. So with being blind, you could pick 2 of the best ones. Blind is really bad though. Your eye organs spawn non-functional, and you also spawn with a blindfold. It's incurable without intervention from above. So nothing doctors can do. They can't replace your eyes with cybernetic eyes. If you pick blind, you're blind. I would not recommending this unless it's for roleplay. Brain tumor. The description is you have a little friend in your brain that is slowly destroying it. Better bring some mannitol. You occasionally get some ticks of brain damage, which, if left untreated, will cause various ailments. It takes 1 minute 40 seconds to take 10%. That's 20 organ damage to your brain. You also spawn with some mannitol. You have to keep taking mannitol the whole round. Really detrimental. I rarely take it. Paraplegic, again, just spawns you with non-functioning legs. Nothing will ever fix this, not even robot legs. But you get a free wheelchair. Unstable. Due to past troubles, you're unable to recover your sanity if you lose it. Be careful managing your mood. This is one of those quirks that is your worst nightmare when it procs. When it happens, it's not good. Too many people mess with you. You see too many piles of dead bodies or blood. If you go into a mental spiral, it's over for your character. Bad back. You spawn with a cane. The description doesn't really tell you what it does in detail, but having a backpack, satchel, or other storage container on your back, anything on your back, gives you a heavy negative moodlet. However, you can wear guns, axes, swords, and other items on your back without problems. So if you were to mix unstable and bad back, the second you wear a backpack, your mood's gonna start dropping. And then if it drops too much, you go into a spiral. See what I mean? These two you never want to pick together. I never pick bad back because I am a hoarder. I collect all the items on the station. Blood deficiency. Your body can't produce enough blood. You lose blood over time. You'll die if you neglect getting treatment. Without treatment, 15 minutes low blood symptoms. After 30 minutes of gameplay, you're going to start taking oxygen damage buildup. 32 minutes, you'll start fainting, and 34 minutes, you're dead. Treatment would be going to medbay and getting hooked up to an IV of blood. And I don't know how long it lasts for. Deaf. You are incurably deaf. Your ears don't work. This one's really tough. You got to learn sign language, and other people have to talk to you through sign language. Illiterate. You cannot interact with books, paper, computers, tablets, or other electronics. This could be very detrimental if you get traitor. You can't use your PDA. I enjoy using all these things in the game, so I would never pick illiterate as my personal playstyle. Again, save this for roleplay. You want to play the round as the illiterate librarian, the illiterate priest, yeah, do something like that. Pacifist. You get -8 points for it because it's bad. You're incapable of directly hurting any other creature. It's not just people. Any other creature. You cannot fire guns. You can't use harm or swing weapons. Stun batons can still stun, but that's the extent of it. If you spawn as an antagonist, Pacifist is not disabled. I would never pick this as a playstyle, and for this guide, this will only weaken your character and make you less robust. Now, Pushover is something that you might consider taking. Definitely harms you in the robust department. It is possible for you to be infinitely tabled, or given infinite swirlies if you take this perk. A pushover, you cannot resist grabs. You can't resist people grabbing you, dumping your head into a toilet bowl, or throwing you on tables. Again, if you pick this, and your enemy figures this out, you might as well give up. You're done for. But those 8 points, it could be useful. Reality Disassociation Syndrome. People mail you Mindbreaker pill bottles for a gift. You suffer from intense constant hallucinations. These include normal hallucinations, but they can also be strange, unique effects that can't be induced by anything else. Having this does not give you an antagonistic license to grief. This one might be very good. I haven't really tried it lately. Normal hallucinations have been nerfed in my opinion. They are very mild on TG Station. You might see yourself dying or become a ghost. The occasional creature attacks you that you think is real. Really hallucinating on TG is a benefit because you can randomly see things around the map in terms of verbal callouts. You might hear that there's Syndicate talking on the radio or something in your head, and that's you psychically hallucinating it, but it's really happening in the game. It's pretty interesting how modern hallucination works. The unique effects, that could be where this gets risky, and I don't know what they do. Hopefully it's like old school hallucinations. Extreme medical allergy. I pick this sometimes. This makes it really hard for you to be healed. In the event that let's say you're a good guy, you pick this to get 6 points towards good perks, but you get hurt, and Medbay has a new doctor, and then they're really gonna have problems figuring out how to heal you. At the start of the shift, a selection of 5 medicines are selected that you have an allergic reaction to. You're informed of this, by a little medical dog tag that you can read, so you know what they are. And if you end up with these chemicals in your system that cause you allergies that are randomly picked, you'll suffer toxin damage, severe organ damage, and be flooded with histamine. Very dangerous. I have picked it before though. Frail makes it that basically have paper thin skin and bones. It definitely affects bleeding a lot more, but I do notice you lose limbs a lot with this. Don't really want this one. Junkie, on the other hand, it's one of these quirks that make it where you need to use something throughout the round. If you're an alcoholic, you have to drink. If you're a smoker, you have to smoke. Junkie makes you addicted to a random narcotic. Out of all the addiction quirks, this one is the most hardcore, the hardest, because it's hard to find some of the drugs you're going to be addicted to. I would not take this one unless you're role-playing, want to have fun as a junkie. Don't take this one to be robust. Quadruple amputee is what it sounds like. You have 4 prosthetic surplus appendages. They're very fragile and need to be repaired constantly. Just take 1 prosthetic. There's a quirk later down. Take that one. Don't take this one. Claustrophobia. This is horrible. On paper it sounds okay. You're just terrified of small spaces. But when you're stuck in any container, you'll suffer from this, and it's really bad. It locks your character up. Glass jaw, it makes your head extremely weak. If people hit you in the head, it'll knock you out a lot worse. Mute makes it where you can't speak. It says to pair this with the Signer positive perk, which will let you speak in Galactic Common Sign Language, useful to speak to talk on space without using comms. talking to deaf people or if you're mute yourself. So it's kind of weird that you'd pick mute just to pick signer. I would advise against it. Nearsighted I do use quite a bit. It makes it blurry when you don't have glasses on your head. It can't be cured and you'll need prescription glasses all the time. I do pick this one though, but if you lose your glasses in a fight or slip or something, they get broken, you're in trouble. Prosopagnosia makes it where you cannot examine people. You don't know who people are. You can't tell their faces from one another. It's a mental disorder, can't be cured. Even when people have IDs, you examine them, they're unknown. This is horrible if you're a security officer. It's kind of funny though for roleplay. Smoker is one of the addiction ones I said. You just have to smoke cigarettes all the time. Stormtrooper aim, it makes it where any shots fired out of a projectile are shifted randomly by up to 25 degrees. You really can't shoot with this. I never pick it. Depression. You occasionally become sad in a similar way to how jolly occasionally makes you happy. Random sadness, it can affect your mood. It's not too bad unless you have the unstable quirk up ahead. Nyctophobia is you can't run in the dark, you hate darkness, you can only walk. This makes maintenance tunnels your enemy. And it makes people that hide in the darkness, you don't want this. This is really bad. Prosthetic limb I use quite a bit. You get to pick now whatever limb you want with the little cog wheel. And it gives you a cheap prosthetic limb. You can upgrade it with robotics. They can get you a better one, but only slightly better. Just get good at repairing these. You'll need tools to repair them. If you take brute damage, you have to weld it. You need wire if you take burn damage. And these limbs can't take toxic damage. Social anxiety, you periodically stutter, and there's a very low chance every second for you to become incapable of speech for a time. This one's pretty funny. It's a good quick 3 points. It doesn't quite make you non-robust. It just affects roleplay and talking. Definitely a good one to pick. Body purist, you cannot have any prosthetics, no implants, no cybernetics, maybe even genetic augmentation you don't like either. I'm not sure about that. But I don't pick this one because I like all that stuff. Family heirloom, I pick it all the time. You start your shift with a special item which varies based on job and species. Examples include a golden bicorn for the clown, special hammer for the lawyer. If you're not in possession of this family heirloom, you gain a significant negative mood modifier. I always pick this, just keep the item on you, never lose it. This also makes you a target for traitors and antagonists because they will get bonus side jobs and objectives to, one of them is find someone's family heirloom and destroy it. Heavy sleeper, this one I do pick sometimes, but it's tough, man. It's tough. It's a bad one. It makes it where if you go unconscious, you get an extended duration before you wake up between 25% and 30%. So definitely harms your robustness, but I do pick it sometimes. Hypersensitive, your mood modifier is increased by 50%. That goes both ways. It makes you happier and sadder. 50% increased modifier. Light drinker, you can't handle alcohol. You get drunk very quickly. This one's actually good to pick because I'll show you my favorite bonus one coming up. And then bad touch, getting a hug gives you a negative mood modifier. The mismood becomes more severe if you dip below positive insanity. With bad touch though, you can get in the mail pepper spray, which is awesome if you get that in the mail. When the mail comes. Let's read some of the good ones now, then I'll tell you my biggest combo. You saw before earlier in the video what I usually pick. Drunken Resilience is my favorite one. Let's just start there. When your character's drunk, you will heal slowly. I've never actually read this, so let's read what it actually does. But I've healed pretty good injuries from this. Minus bleeding or having a bullet lodged in you or something. 6 to 40 drunkenness heals 0.1 brute and 0.5 burn damage per tick. 41 to 60 drunkenness heals 0.4 brute and 0.2 burn per tick. And 61 drunkenness and up is 0.8 brute per 0.4. So wow, this is great. It doesn't heal toxic, but there are certain alcoholic beverages that help with radiation, for example, like vodka. I always try to get this. This is so good for being robust, in my opinion, because you don't have to heal at medbay. You can go to the bar to heal. You can go to a vending machine and heal. This one is great, guys. This one's great. We'll start from the top. Clown Enjoyer. You'll get clown equipment in the mail. You get a mood modifier when you're around the clown, only when you put the pin on. So you spawn with a clown pin in your bag, attach it to your jumpsuit, and it'll get a positive moodlet when the clown's around. If you're planning on working with the clown, this could be good. Friendly. A bigger moodlet is received by your hugs. When you give people hugs, you give the best hugs. Mime Fan is the same as the clown pin, but you get a mime pin, and you get a moodlet modifier when the mime's around. Musician, your music gives you modifiers when you play music for people. You could be like a bard. People like your music. You spawn with an instrument. You definitely want the Wikipedia and the songs area of the wiki, because this is where you can I think I'm on the folk music side of this. So here is predetermined songs. I don't know how to play the instruments manually, so the best way to do this is just click on what kind of music you want, expand it, and then you would copy this into the instrument. There's an area where you can do it. This is not a music tutorial. Maybe I'll do one someday, but go to songs and on the TG wiki. Once you punch this in and then press start on the instrument, it'll automatically play this song. It's pretty funny. So you could basically play pre-made country music, anime music, pop music, all these video game music, and then with that quirk, musician, you will give people positive buffs. Alcohol tolerance. You become drunk more slowly. You only take 70% of the drunkenness from alcohol, and some negative effects, i.e. jittering, won't affect you. This could be good. I don't know how it factors into my drunken resilience perk that I always pick, but it's 4 points is a lot. Like when we talked about the negatives, in order for you to get this alcohol tolerance, you have to pick a negative. So in my opinion, let's talk about that right now. The negative traits that I pick and are worth getting for being robust and not negatively affecting you too much would be hypersensitive, light drinker, family heirloom, always. That's 6 points right there. And then you can add heavy sleeper. You can add bad touch. That would be 8 points and 9 points. And then if you want to get some of the more extreme ones, prosthetic limb, okay? Let's just pick all these negatives. We'll see what that does, okay? We're up to 9, body purist 11. Okay, the only one I would pick next would be prosthetic limb. That's up to negative 14. And then one of the addictions, either smoker or alcoholic. I guess you can go alcoholic. Well, on normal TG, there is no alcoholic quirk. But some servers I have seen alcoholic before. So I would pick smoker. So at that point, you'd have negative 18. And the only other one I would pick on top of all this, if you want to go crazy, would be the nearsighted. So then you would have negative 22 points. I never do this with all of them, but I usually just get 8 points out of those mix just to get my alcohol one. Let's get back to the bonuses. And then with those 22 points, you could pick 2 8s and 1 6, I guess. Or 4 and a 2. Or 3 2s. But again, it's like you don't want some of these, because they're not going to make you robust. They're more just for role play, or if you're going for a certain character, like musician. Apathetic makes it where all mood modifiers, positive and negative, are 20% less effective on you. That could be very good when you pick some of those negatives we talked about that affect your mood. Jolly, you'll occasionally gain a boost to your mood. That's the opposite of depression. Light step, this one's very interesting. Stepping on sharp things like glass shards and D4s is 20% quieter than normal. Additionally, stepping on them without shoes will deal 25% less damage. Night vision, this sounds good on paper. It's not as good as you think. It's okay. Your vision in dark areas is very slightly brighter. You can see 3x3 area around you without blur, a 3x3 area. Pick this if you want. I do like it, but I don't aim for it. I'm always aiming for drunken resilience. Signer we talked about, lets you sign language. Spiritual, you'll get mailed chaplain equipment, which if you get mailed a null rod is amazing. It's like a free sword that you could transform into. You hold spiritual belief, whether in God, nature, arcane, yada yada. You gain comfort from presence of holy people. When you pray, administrators online will see a special note next to your name. This doesn't mean they have to respond though. This really is not something you want to aim for. In the right circumstances, with the right admins, this could be useful. So what praying is basically you're messaging an admin in character, through your character, praying to the gods, right? Or praying to God, however you roleplay it. But it's an admin message, basically. So you could pray without this perk, without this quirk. And 9 out of 10 times, admins that see this special note, they won't do anything special, you know? But if you get the right admin on the right day, and he sees this, and he's like really fired up that someone used this, and then he'll answer your prayers, possibly. Tagger. You spawn with a spray can in your bag. In addition, the graffiti that you make will increase the decoration value of the room containing it, capped at a certain point. Art supplies are consumed at half the usual rate. This is the first time I'm learning about this. I've never even known about decoration value of rooms. This is quite interesting. I'll have to further research this. Voracious. The click delay when eating food and drinking drinks is halved. This means you can eat and drink like crazy. Drunken resilience I've raved about quite a bit. Empath. Whether it's a sixth sense or careful study of body language, it only takes you a quick glance at someone to understand how they feel. You can examine people and you know their mood and what's going on in their moodlets. Free running, this one's great. You climb tables 20% faster. It can be really good for robustness to get away from people. Self-aware, when checking yourself for injuries, you can see the exact amount of brute and burn damage. You can also tell if you have toxin or oxygen damage. This is very powerful. I rarely get it, but this one can be useful on yourself. For healing. If you don't have drunken resilience, if you just want to heal yourself. And then skittish. This one's interesting. You're easy to startle and hide frequently. Run into a closed locker to jump into it as long as you have access if it's not locked. You can control shift plus click on a locker will, if you can open it, cause you to jump in it and lock the door behind you. This is like really good to get away and escape from people. And then quickly let's go over some of the neutral perks. These do not give you points towards your balance. Most of these are for RP purposes, funny purposes that you can come up with. And then the neutral ones are pretty much all for roleplay purposes or just wacky purposes. I'm not going to go over all of them. You'll have to check these out yourself. Like, there's 2 of them, Ananas, Aversion, and Affinity. It's basically pineapple pizza, or you hate pineapple, so pineapple itself is added to foods you like or don't like. It's like the weirdest. But again, they don't take away points or give you points, so you can just pick these. Colorist, you start with a bottle of hair dye in your backpack. This is cool if you want to prank someone or change your hair. If you know, maybe you're a traitor and you're not a changeling, you want to look different. You know, who knows? This is weird. Extrovert, you get free positive moodlet for staying inside the station's bar. I should pick this more often because I love going to the bar. It's part of my RP a lot. Foreigner makes it where if you're human, you can only understand Galactic Uncommon. And if you're any other species, you can only understand your native language. Gamer makes it where going 15 minutes without playing a game will give you gaming withdrawal and decrease your mood. Winning and losing games will raise and lower mood respectively. Gamers only like junk food, gamer fuel. So games around the station are all the arcade games, the gambling games. That's interesting. Heterochromatic, you can set your eyes to different colors, 2 different color eyes. It's pretty cool. Phobia, you become afraid of a particular subject. When encountering that subject, you may become paralyzed, scream uncontrollably, or close your eyes, causing blindness, while having your mood tank thoroughly. This one's funny. Again, RP purposes. Photographer, you spawn with a free camera and photo albums, and you can carry photographs across rounds. That is super interesting and persistent. I had no idea about this. That photographer, you can carry photos through rounds. Make a photo album from different rounds you play. That's cool. Shifty eyes. Sometimes you make eye contact with people without meaning to. That's kind of weird. I have no idea what that means. Finally, snob. You get a positive mood lift from staying inside rooms with high decoration value, carpets, paintings, statues, and a whole bunch of other things to increase value, while trash, vomit, and blood decrease value. It's amazing. I wish I knew that before my janitor tutorial I made. Decoration value. On the other hand, you also get a negative mood lift from staying inside a room with low decoration. And making a random hardcore character is an option when you make a character for random hardcore. I think every time you play a round, it changes your character completely. This mode exists as somewhat of an extra challenge for veteran players who would like to be cool by being on a leaderboard. If enabled, each round your character gets a random budget of points, which randomly selects quirks for you. The more points you end up getting, the more score you will get if you survive the round. If you're an ANTAG, you'll get double the points for making it through. The survivors are listed on the end of the round report. This is incredible. I had no idea about that, but it's extremely hard. Imagine getting randomized every time. You might be a quadruple amputee, a junkie with extreme medical allergies, and a lot of these things, phobias, but if you survive, oh, that's cool, man. I gotta try that. But thank you for watching this video. If you are interested in these quirks and perks, and let me know in the comments. I love hearing your comments. Let me know what quirks you pick. Which ones do you aim for that you pick every round or avoid? And thank you for watching. Hit that thumbs up and share the video. It helps out tremendously. Have a great rest of your day.